there is something very, very interesting happening with ticker symbol VIRI. Let's go ahead and go over these potentials because there could be a serious rip to the upside if this condition meets. Let's go ahead and go over it now. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a ticker symbol VIRI, technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Taco Tuesday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, you guys, I have some things to talk to you about, okay? So we spoke about, I think this was about maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe even a few weeks ago, even into a month or more. We spoke about this very curious crossing of these moving averages, right? So what you're looking at here is the crossing of the EMA 20 or the 21 crossing over the EMA 50 or the 55. The reason why I'm saying both of those is because there's confusion over which one could be what, right? So Google will tell you that the silver cross is a bullish moving average strategy that happens when the shorter time frame exponential moving average 20 period crosses over the 50 period, right? But there are also professional traders who consider the 21 over the exponential period 55 to be the actual silver cross, right? So in this case, we got both of them. Okay, so so both of them are looking very good, and we have talked about this before. And notice that as soon as we got that cross of the 21 over the 55, we actually got that huge upside, and we have been using that EMA 21 as kind of a guide towards that upside, right? So the reason why I'm mentioning this bullish cross is because of the following. So let me just go ahead and disable my custom EMAs and show you now what is about to happen. Okay, so let me enable, not this one, I'm going to enable the 200 and the 50. Okay, so when the 200-day simple moving average, this one here, the purple one, right? When that moving average gets crossed above by the SMA 50, that is actually the silver cross's bigger brother. That would be the golden cross. Okay, so the golden cross is historically known to be used for a bull market trend, okay, and specifically looked at on the daily chart. Okay, so in this case, you can see that it's contracting and they're getting very close to each other. Okay, so usually what happens is that when we get that 50-day simple moving average over the 200-day simple moving average, there is pretty likely an explosive move to be looked at. First, to the downside to test both of the moving averages as a valid area of support before an explosion to the upside. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this. Okay, so I was on a space call right now with Frank B, and he was talking about the explanation of the very same drug. Something happened here fundamentally that actually didn't execute correctly, and the price action essentially capitulated, right? So this now is very curious because we started gaining. Please notice here that drug, whatever that was, it was announced, and then we started to validate that SMA 50 as a valid area of support, right? As soon as we started getting more and more confirmations, the trials and all this good stuff, we actually made the price action continue to the upside and cross above the 200-day moving average for some time. When we got, which by the way, take a look at this. We crossed above the SMA 50 just like we did here, right? Then we started validating it as a support before continuing on to the upside, right? So we got announcements, we got fundamental catalysts here. The price action moved all the way to the upside, and notice what's happening now. We just crossed above the 200-day simple moving average. To be clear, we actually crossed this on Friday. Okay, so we're on Tuesday now. Okay, so this is looking very good. All right, so So anyway, we cross above that 200-day SMA, right? And now the price action seems to be consolidating a little. Similar situation to this area, except we continue to the upside. And then please notice that this is the consolidation. Notice here that as I'm going to just point it out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and point it out just like this. So this area where the consolidation started, which is arguably right here, go ahead and notice that right here in this point, the SMA 200 and the SMA 50 started to contract, and they started to get really close to each other, right? And price action was just consolidating, waiting for that validation of the 200-day cross with the SMA 50, the golden cross, right? So when that golden cross happened, of course, everybody was excited. We got that bullish cross of the 200 of the 50 over the 200. Price action went to the upside and capitulated to what? To test the SMA 50 as a valid area of support so we can continue on to the upside. Unfortunately, there was a bad fundamental catalyst here, and the price action continued to the downside. But go ahead and notice what's happening here. We're about to cross, right? So we're getting very close here. If I were to be completely honest with you, I am thinking that we can make this bullish cross anywhere between Friday, June 16th to about maybe Tuesday, June 20th, right around that area is where I'm thinking that we can get that bullish cross, and the price action may very well be trending anywhere between the range of about, I'm going to adjust it even, right? I'm going to adjust it to favor the bottom side of this candle here. I'm thinking that we could consolidate, chop around for the next week or so, and that could be down to the area of about 141 to the area of about 155, right? Or even our current highs at 157. So this would be our chop zone essentially, right? When we get that SMA 200 by the 50, there is a strong likelihood that the price action can make an upside continuation here, particularly to two zones, 206 at the 2618, and the other zone would be 241 at the 3.272. But to be very honest with you, it's very likely that we can get that bounce to that 206 first of all, because we would already officially close the remainder of this gap that needs from 182 to about 192. Okay, if the price action is really that bullish that we cross that SMA 50 over the 200, then very likely the price action can actually lead to the top side of this gap or very close to it, which just so happens to be in line with the 4.618 at about 311 before capitulating and coming back to test the SMA 50, which could be located at around that 154, 157, right where we are right now, as a valid area of support before continuing on to the upside. For my investors, I am looking at if we actually close a daily candle above the area of about 311 or 316, closing candles above this critical area would essentially validate a continuation to the upside, of which first we can see a stop at about 566, followed by another area of around 672 near $7, and then eventually reach around $8 or $9. Okay, you guys, so let's go ahead and just pay very close attention over what's happening here on the charts, because what's about to happen is very critical for the asset. Okay, you guys, so I want to go ahead and just point out here that we still have an upside pivot on that 5-day time frame, the higher likelihood of facing that top side of that 125% first standard deviation, the upper bound of the first standard deviation, is becoming more and more likely, and that is because the price is starting to contract and the momentum is suggesting an upside from the bullish control zone. And not only that, it's actually suggesting upside from the gravitational zone of the bullish control zone. So this is incredible. We have DMI support right here. Please notice that we are at a very healthy, whenever we reach 30% ADX, which is the average directional index, which marks trending market, right, to whoever is leading the DMI plus or DMI minus. So in this case, DMI plus being the bulls are way upside of the bears. And notice that trending market right now is favoring them with just over 30%. That is strong trend market, and that means that our statistical backtest has DMI support. The higher likelihood is that we can actually start looking at that top side. Remember, 5-day iterations here though, okay? So you're looking at, this can very well take a few days in order for us to validate that upside, since they are 5-day candles, okay? So why does that sound familiar? Why are we getting an upside on the 5-day time frame, but we're getting maybe some downsides in the shorter time frame? We just spoke about it. Take a look at this. The SMA 200, I'm estimating to cross the SMA 50, I'm estimating to cross above the 200 somewhere around Thursday, June 15th to maybe, Friday, June 16th to maybe around Tuesday, June 20th. So now if you start looking at your 5-day back test, then that starts to make a little more sense now, doesn't it? Right around this area here is where I'm saying. So literally 2 more 5-day candles away before we can potentially make that upside continuation. And it would be, we would it would be an up down growth, right? Up and down. And that's what you generally want. It needs to be healthy. Now check this out. What is the top side that we're looking at based on the firing of the signal for the 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest? Well, that's leading to around 280. Okay, so again, we were talking about the potentials of the top side targets leading to a couple of those targets already. We were talking about $3.11 at the 4 spot 618. I'm not sure if it's still there. It's okay. The 4 spot 618 is leading to 311 to about 316, which just so happens to be rhyming with our 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest at around that 280 level. Okay, so now what we can do is mark off our area of resistance. Okay, so that would be 280. Come on. I guess we're going to have to be stuck with the 281, right? It's cool. 280 to about that top side of $3.16, right? So just like, wait, hold on just a sec. Let me just go ahead and make sure that is in fact what we were looking at. I think it was the 316, right? So that was, 316. Perfect. So yeah, now let's just go ahead and make sure that we have that marked off, right? So let's get that 315. Okay, right about there. This is essentially the area that we're looking for, statistically speaking and technically speaking, because of the top side of this candle here leading to that 316 top, which is just the resistance level before this massive gap, right? So the statistics are leading right into that technical target as well. That's what we want, you guys. We want to be able to see if we can get the maturing of the 5-day signal to be located right at that 280 to 316 level. We would come back and validate the newly converted resistance into support of the golden cross at around that 150, 154 level before a continuation onto the upside. I can't tell you how much more of a slam dunk this thing is looking like, okay, you guys? So if we were to see a drop to the downside, then that could be a drop to the downside after a couple weeks down to the area of about 120 to 150, and then the price action can continue to the upside, right? Everything is looking pretty good. The immediate short-term time frame, of course, you guys, we have a 180 support right at the 5-day Gaussian channel bottom. There is a lot to kind of look at in there, right? So we just have to be careful. Now take a look at this 5-day mean band. Where is it located? Go ahead and take a look at there. 275. Man, it rhymes with you because it's looking right at the eyes of the 280 from the statistical backtest. Guys, this is incredible. Okay, ticker symbol Viri set to make some very interesting highs. Also notice here that we are at critical support on the daily time frame, on the bi-daily time frame, that is. And that is, I mean, it's okay for us to face that because you can see here that the daily time frame also has that downside. We're already talking about a potential downside already to about that 141 anyway, 140. Okay, so we're going to be chopping around 140 to 155, right around there. And then as soon as we get that golden cross, we can actually see some real action happening. Okay, so we have literally upside pivots here. We have a downside pivot there. We have an upside pivot here. We have upside, and it shows that the 5-day time frame is entering the bullish control zone with a massive upside pivot on both the SMA 14 and the signal line. That means that the shorter time frames are going to have to kind of influence the longer term time frames, the larger term time frames for that upside. That those validations will happen within the shorter term period, and then they will bleed with an upside into the larger term, and we're already getting that hint from it. 5-day time frame, of course, you guys, look at this. This is the 5-day RSI, and we were just talking about the 5-day statistical backtest. Upside on that stochastic momentum, reaching that gravitational zone in the bullish control zone. We're getting the bulls on the top side. ADX is trending market towards the bulls, and it's showing on the RSI as well. Okay, you guys, so please remember first and foremost that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Okay, you guys. But with that said, yeah, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.